Hi everyone, welcome back to DGMZ, Diwan-e-Ghalib, Meri Subani. To all our returning viewers, we are very happy you could join us again. And to the new viewers, we are delighted you discovered the podcast and decided to tune in for the first time. Now, if you were with me in the previous episode, you know that currently we are going through Ghazal 30 from Diwan-e-Ghalib, Jab Ba-Taqrib-e-Safar Yaar ne Mahmil baandha. We've already covered 2 couplets. Today we are going to pick up the third couplet. As always, I'm going to read the couplet first, then we will get into the keywords, concepts, and finally the DGMZ impression. So, this is how the third couplet goes. या सो उम्मीद ने यक-अरबदा मैदान मांगा. या सो उम्मीद ने यक-अरबदा मैदान मांगा. इज्ज-ए-हिम्मत ने तिलिस्म-ए-Dil-e-Sail बांधा. So, as always, let's do a quick translation. First line, या सो उम्मीद ने यक-अरबदा मैदान मांगा. Hopelessness and hope demanded one single field for conflict. Second line, Ijz-e-Himmat ne Tilism-e-Dil-e-Sail bandha. The miracle of courage arranged an enchanting magical world of the questioning heart. Alright, let's start getting into our keywords. We have quite a few to go through. First word, yas. So, yas is hopelessness, despair, frustration, despondency. इस पे जिगर मुरादाबादी का ये शेर, निगाहे यास मेरी काम कर गई अपना, रुला के उठे थे वो, मुस्कुरा के बैठ गए. Beautiful couplet. Approximate translation is, these eyes of despair, my eyes of despair did their job because they made me cry and stood up, but after seeing these eyes of despair of mine, they smiled and sat down again. Next word, moving on to Ummiid. Ummiid is just the opposite of yas. Ummiid is hope, expectation, anticipation, waiting for something, right? शकील आज़मी का ये शेर, शाम तक टूट के हर रोज़ बिखर जाता हूँ, यास उम्मीद में तब्दील नहीं हो पाती. Beautiful couplet capturing both yas and ummeed. The approximate translation is, by the time evening is over, I am once again completely broken, completely despondent, because once again, by the end of the evening, the hopelessness has not converted to hope, has not transformed to hope. Mirza Ghalib ka sher. I think Ghalib has some of the best Ummeed shares, so of course. Mirza Ghalib ka sher, हमको उनसे वफा की है उम्मीद जो नहीं जानते वफा क्या है. Masterpiece. So the approximate translation is, I sit here expecting loyalty from the one who doesn't even know what loyalty is to begin with. जानते ही नहीं है जब उसको तो कैसे देंगे. And वहाँ पे वो save, right, for the beloved, that, well, how can you hold it against her? She after all doesn't even know what loyalty is. So it is my fault that I sit here waiting and expecting loyalty from her. Beautiful couplet. Another one from Ghalib. कोई उम्मीद बर नहीं आती, कोई सूरत नजर नहीं आती. This is the lovers' day in, day out state of affairs, right? So the approximate translation is, I see no hope on the horizon and I see no way, no way of hope emerging on the horizon. So hope का भी hope खत्म हो गया. There is no hope left for even hope itself. So that takes care of Ummeed. Moving on to Yak. Yak is a very simple word. It is basically one, single. Sometimes in Urdu poetry also used as a or an, right? So we will quickly move on to Arbada. Arbada is a word we are encountering at DGMZ for the first time. What it means is it has more than one meaning. So it can refer to somebody with a bad temper, somebody who is very quarrelsome, somebody who gets irritated and angry very fast, right? But it can also mean, by extension, a full-fledged outright conflict, right? A dispute or a battle even, correct? So that is Arbada in all its intensities. इस पे ऐश दहलवी का ये शेर, मेरा शिकवा तेरी महफिल में अदू करते हैं, मेरा शिकवा तेरी महफिल में अदू करते हैं, उस पे भी सब्र हम ए अरबदा जू करते हैं. The approximate translation is, complaints against me in your gathering are done by my enemies. And even after knowing that, Arbada Jew, O quarrelsome one, I still remain patient. And that is a very interesting thing that we came across about Arbada. Arbada is actually in Urdu poetry used as a characteristic of the beloved. Arbada Jew is a very common phrase used in Urdu poetry. It's not relevant to a couplet today, but something to know that Arbada Jew is something you address the beloved as. Somebody quarrelsome, right? Somebody very quick to get irritated, very quick to get angry. Somebody who is in a perpetual state of conflict with the other party, and in our case, of course, the lover. So that is something to keep in mind about Arbada. It is considered a characteristic of the beloved. Staying on Arbada, Ragib Muradabadi का ये शेर, मैं बद अखलाक नहीं हूँ, मैं बद अखलाक नहीं हूँ, मुझसे क्यों बुते अरबदा जू बोलेगा. The approximate translation is, I am not someone with bad habits, bad temperament. I am not someone who is rude and loving conflict. Therefore, of course, why would that idol who is a quarrelsome one want to talk to me? Again, playing on that sentiment that the beloved characteristically loves conflict, loves dispute, loves to be temperamental, right? So the lover says, after all, I'm not like that, right? So why would she want to talk to me? Why would she vibe with me? And then this last one from Josh Adib, होता है तुझे देख के खुश अरबदा जू भी, ए दोस्त मोहब्बत की हरी शाख है तू भी. The approximate translation is, even that quarrelsome one, metaphorically the beloved, even that quarrelsome one becomes happy when she sees you. My dear friend, you seem to be the green, flourishing stem or stalk of love, who can even make that quarrelsome beloved smile. So that takes care of Arbada. Moving on to our next word, Maidaan. Very common word, we still use it. Of course, Maidaan is this vast expanse of space, right? An area that is designated for some activity, be it sports, be it whatever, right? A big congregation of people. इस पे अल्लामा इकबाल का ये शेर, टल ना सकते थे अगर जंग में अड़ जाते थे. लवली वन. टल ना सकते थे अगर जंग में अड़ जाते थे, पांव शेरों के भी मैदान से उखड़ जाते थे. So the approximate translation is, nobody could overturn them if they decided to stand firm in the battlefield. A battlefield where even the lions would be uprooted, right? Their feet would be uprooted. Such were these people that if they decided to stand firm in that battleground, nothing could overturn them. निदा फाजली का ये शेर, मैदान की हर जीत तो किस्मत की बात है. Another lovely one. मैदान की हर जीत तो किस्मत की बात है, टूटी है किसके हाथ में तलवार देखना. What a lovely couplet. What a lovely couplet. Approximate translation is winning, right? Winning or losing in a battlefield or in any field for that matter. It just says Maidan, right? So winning or losing in any field is dependent on your fate, dependent on your destiny. What you should look for is which is the soldier, and that makes it the battlefield, which is the soldier that has a broken sword in their hands. That will tell you who the winner is. Even if you see it on the side that lost, look for the soldier who has a broken. This is the soldier that survived. This is the soldier that made it through. The weapon broke, but the soldier remains, right? So beautiful, beautiful couplet. All right, so that takes care of Maidan. Moving on to Ijz. Now, the most common meaning of Ijz is some kind of hopelessness, some kind of powerlessness, a weakness, a helplessness, right? इस पे अमीर मिनाई का ये शेर, ज़मी में दानाए गंदूम, सदफ में हम हुए गौहर, हमारे इज्ज ने हर मरका में हमको दर रखा. The approximate translation is, in the ground I was the seed of grain, in the oyster I was the pearl. My humbleness, my submission, my helplessness has made me prevail, has made me prevail in all battles of life. Where it seemed that I was hidden or lost or mixed in dust, but this humble, modest stance of mine has always made me prevail, because I might have started as a grain of wheat in dust, but then because I remained humble, close to the ground, I did ultimately become a harvest, right? And same goes for that water drop, right? Though I got closed and trapped into an oyster, because I kept my head down and gave it time, I did transform into a pearl. Another good one. शकील बदायूं का ये शेर, रखी हुई है संगे दरे यार पर जबी, इस इज्ज पर गुरूर किए जा रहा हूँ मैं. Another good one, right? So the approximate translation is, I have placed my forehead on the threshold of the beloved, on the doorstep of the beloved, and of this humble act of mine, I am so proud. What a couplet, right? Amazing. वो जो contrast किया है इज्ज और गुरूर का, right? Of this humble act of mine, I am so proud. I am so proud. And then last one, मीर तकी मीर का ये शेर, तमाम उम्र रहे खाक ज़ेरे पा उसकी, तमाम उम्र रहे खाक ज़ेरे पा उसकी, जो ज़ोर कुछ चले हम इज्ज दस्तगाहों का. So the approximate translation is the same vibe as Amir Minai's sher. The translation is, for the entirety of my life, I would wish to be the dust under her feet. If the humble people like me had a say, right? Had a say in their destiny, had power to redirect their destiny. This is the destiny I would want, to be humbly serve as dust under her feet. So that takes care of Ijz. Another new word we are encountering it for the first time at DGMZ in addition to Arbada. All right, moving on to Himmat, a common word, we still use it. Himmat translates to courage, valor, bravery, right? फरत एहसास का ये शेर, तुम्हें उससे मोहब्बत है तो हिम्मत क्यों नहीं करते, किसी दिन उसके दर पे रक़्स से वहशत क्यों नहीं करते. The approximate translation is, if you love her, then why don't you show the bravery? Why don't you show the courage? Why don't you one day, at her doorstep, do the dance of frenzy, do the dance of passion? So that takes care of Himmat. Moving on to Tilism. Tilism is again a word with multiple meanings, right? Right from conjuring something to a talisman, to some kind of magic spell, to some kind of device which is used to ward off bad magic, and then lastly, Tilism can be this enchanted, magical world, a whole world, right, that has magic and enchantment in it. So various meanings for that. हबीब जलीब का ये शेर, तिलिस्म साया खौफ व हरास तोड़ेंगे, कदम बढ़ाएंगे, जंजीर यास तोड़ेंगे. The approximate translation is, so this illusion, this tricked world in which I am caught up of hopelessness, I am going to keep moving forward, breaking the chains around my feet and get myself out. So that takes care of Tilism. Moving on to Saahil. Now Saahil, spelled as in English Sail, is a word that translates to somebody who questions, somebody who interrogates. In extreme sense, it can also be somebody who begs, right, or petitions for something. इस पर सागर सिद्दीकी का ये शेर, मैंने पलकों से दरे यार पे दस्तक दी है. Another good one. मैंने पलकों से दरे यार पे दस्तक दी है, मैं वो साहिल हूँ जिसे कोई सदा याद नहीं. So the approximate translation is, with my eyelashes, visualization, right? With my eyelashes, I have gone ahead and knocked on the door of the beloved. Such is my knock, and by extension, such is my question, such is my begging, such is my petition, that it has no noise. Of course, when you're knocking on something with your eyelashes, right? It's not going to make any noise. Nobody's going to notice it. But khayal bahut pyara hai. All right. So that takes care of all the keywords. Let's start getting into our impression. First line. Ya so Ummiid ne Yak-Arbada Maidaan maanga. Hopelessness and hope demanded one field for conflict. Ghalib starts this couplet with a famous word complex that is used frequently in the world of Urdu poetry. Yas o Ummiid, hopelessness and hope. Almost like day and night, black and white, wrong and right, right? They just go hand in hand. Now, what day and night are to a normal human being, Yas o Ummiid is to the lover. That is the integration of Yas o Ummiid in a lover's life, the way day and night are integrated in a normal person's life. Hopelessness and hope, which is Yas o Ummiid, are the day and night between which the lover goes back and forth again and again. Both these emotions imprint the lover as sun and moon would imprint the sky for someone normal or who's not a lover. जाहिदा खातून शर्विया का ये शेर, मेरी सूरत है तमाशा गाहे यासो उम्मीद. गर तुझे शौक तमाशा है तो आ देख मुझे. The approximate translation is, my face is a field of spectacle between hope and hopelessness. This face of mine is a field where you can stand and see the spectacle of hope and hopelessness. So if you're fond of spectacles, come, visit me. यायावार दीवाना का ये शेर, उम्मीद और यास में शब जल रही है, महज एक सांस है जो चल रही है. The approximate translation is, in hopelessness and hope, the night is burning away. And it is just this one breath that goes on and on and on. There is a certain kind of hide and seek, एक आँख मिचौली, played by hopelessness and hope inside the lover, who holds on to hope and in parallel battles hopelessness. This is that perplexing dynamic that continuously goes on inside the lover, where he's trying to grab onto hope. तिनके का भी सहारा हो जाए अगर, right? होप को पकड़ने की कोशिश एंड बैटलिंग होपलेसनेस, यास से जीतने की कोशिश. जहांगीर नायाब का ये शेर, दिल से निकाल यास की जिंदा हूँ मैं अभी, होता है क्यों उदास की जिंदा हूँ मैं अभी. लवर्स एंथम, right? The approximate translation is, throw out the hopelessness from your heart because you are still alive, or because I'm still alive. Why are you so sad? You are still alive. I am still alive. So as long as you are alive, do not let hopelessness stay in your heart. Pick it and throw it out of your heart. And as long as you are alive, do not stay sad. चकबस्त ब्रज नारायण का ये शेर, ये रंगे बेकसी रंगे जुनू बन जाएगा गाफिल, समझ ले यास और हिरमान के मर्ज की इंतहा क्या है. मर्ज की इंतहा क्या है. The approximate translation is, this color of helplessness will transform into a color of frenzy and passion. Oh ignorant one, all you have to do is understand that this ailment, this sickness of melancholy and frustration, what is the extreme of this? Once you understand the extreme, you will be able to transform it. वो उनका शेर याद आ रहा है ना गालिब का कि हद से दर्द का दवा हो जाना, right? When the pain hits the ceiling, it will transform into cure. So, oh ignorant one, try to figure out what is the extreme limit of this hopelessness. And once you have figured it out, you will be able to transform it. In this first line, hopelessness and hope, right? यासो उम्मीद ने यक-अरबदा मैदान मांगा. Hopelessness and hope are asking the lover, demanding from the lover something which is of course indicated by manga, which is asking. So what are they asking for? They are asking for Yak-Arbada Maidaan. Like we said, Yak is one, Maidan is a field. What is Arbada? As we covered in the keywords, this is the first time we are encountering this word at DGMZ. The word Arbada is an Arabic word which is used in Persian language commonly. It refers to some kind of noisy, disturbed, riot kind of a scenario, right? It can refer to something as simple as a brawl or a quarrel, or it can also refer to rowdy behavior, a place which is in an uproar, very rowdy, very noisy, a lot of commotion, right? Or it can also refer to complete paralysis of reason. And that meaning usually applies to scenarios where we are talking about intoxication by alcohol, etc., right? So, Arbada again comes with multiple usages. In Persian poetry usually, and by extension in Urdu poetry, it is used to describe raucous or belligerent behavior, commotion, right? Rowdy behavior. Though not identical, but in English language we have phrases to capture similar scenarios where people or groups of people are ready to fight, argue, compete as hard as they can without showing any care or respect for each other. These are scenarios where polite behavior has ended and an aggressive, no mercy approach has begun. So, English phrases like no holds barred, or ready to rumble, or battle lines are drawn, or it's game on, or drop the gloves, or no mercy. A lot of phrases in English language also where we try to capture the ruthless approach people take to a dispute, to a conflict. There is no semblance of decorum or respect or honor left anymore. Everything is game, right? Everything is fair in this type of scenario. So that is Arbada. In this first line, Ghalib captures a different scenario than the usual scenario where hopelessness and hope inside the lover keep running in circles, right? When one arrives, the other has to leave, and vice versa. Usually this is what is happening. But in our couplet today, Ghalib captures this scenario where both hopelessness and hope stop running in circles and demand from the lover to get them together on one single battlefield, face to face, for this no holds barred, no mercy clash, post which only one will remain. या सो उम्मीद ने यक-Arbada Maidaan maanga. Hopelessness and hope demanded to be brought together on one single field, right? Where, and this is not any field, this is Arbada Maidan, a field where no mercy, no holds barred kind of dispute, challenge, fight can happen, battle can happen. Insha captures this clash of titans well in this couplet. Ya so ummeed, so inshallah ka insha ka ye sher, ya so ummeed o shaadi o gam ने धूम उठाई सीने में. यासो उम्मीद ओ शादी ओ गम ने धूम उठाई सीने में, खूब मुझे है आज धमाधम मार कुटाई सीने में. Right? That okay, let me translate it for you. So the translation is: hopelessness and hope, joy and sorrow have created an uproar today in my heart, in my chest. And I am enjoying this thumping, drumming sound that they are creating of beating and bruising and struggling and fighting with each other inside my chest or inside my heart. So that is the type of scenario, right? In a lover's heart, there is this battle lines are drawn, right? One side hope, one side hopelessness, and they are fighting each other to ensure only one wins. That type of battle is what is getting demanded by hopelessness and hope in our couplet today in the first line. Now, having hopelessness and hope wanting a combat or a battle like this is not something a lover will ever want. The lover in Urdu poetry masters the art of cohabitating with both hopelessness and hope. Our lover of Urdu poetry masters the art of living both with hope and hopelessness. मसूद हुसैन खां का ये शेर, 1000 बार उसे नाकामियों ने समझाया, मगर ये दिल तेरी उल्फत से बाज कब आया. The approximate translation is 1,000 times the failures tried to teach it, tried to guide it, but this heart would not refrain from loving you, wanting you, desiring you. No amount of failures, and again, by extension, hopelessness, right, can kill the hope of this heart. Kill the desire of this heart. फिरोज़ा यास्मी का ये शेर, एक को उम्मीद दूसरी को नाउमीदी कहते हैं, क्यों लोग कहते हैं दोनों में बैर है. This statement can only be made by a lover. The approximate translation is, one is called hope, one is called hopelessness. Why do people insist that these two are conflicting emotions? For a normal person, they are. They are. But for the lover, no. For the lover, no. Alright, so that takes care of the first line. Ya so Ummiid ne Yak-Arbada Maidaan maanga. Hopelessness and hope are demanding the clash of titans. They want to come on a battlefield and they don't want to play by rules. They only want to play and fight and quarrel and dispute with each other till only one remains. Moving on to the second line. Ijz-e-Himmat ne Tilism-e-Dil-e-Sail baandha. The miracle of courage arranged an enchanting magical world of the questioning heart. Now, Ijz, very interesting word. Another new word for DGMZ. We've never covered it. It is likely a transliteration of the Arabic word is, which can mean honor, glory, might, grandeur, or dignity. So, Ijz has multiple meanings. We will take you through them and then we'll let you know which one we picked for a couplet today. So, the first meaning is honor, respect, and glory. The second meaning is modesty. The third meaning is miracle, right? And there are connotations to each spelling, right? But all three are variations in which the word Ijz can be used. Phrases like martaba-e-Ijz, state of modesty, or Ijz-e-Mujassam, humility incarnate, are some examples of the usage of this word. After going through all these possible usages and meanings of the word Ijz, we at DGMZ made a conscious decision to go with the meaning that passed the DGMZ test for us. So, the meaning we picked is miracle and astonishment, wonder, marvel, right? Magical. That is the meaning we picked. Our impression, therefore, will be based on this usage and meaning of Ijz. So, as we saw in the first line, lover was being asked by hopelessness and hope to give them a battlefield where they would have a no mercy battle out of which only one survival will emerge. Now, a normal person would think this is a risk worth taking. After all, there is a 50% chance of either winning, and that's a good chance to take. But like we said, for the lover, this is not an easy decision. This is not an easy risk. Hopelessness and hope are day and night for the lover. It's not possible to give up one. The relish of one exists because of the existence of the other. For the lover, hopelessness and hope complete, contrast, and complement each other in the lover's world. It's a very complex dynamic, but that's how it works out for the lover. Faiz Ahmad Faiz का ये शेर, दिल ना उम्मीद तो नहीं, नाकाम ही तो है, लंबी है गम की शाम मगर शाम ही तो है. The approximate translation is, the heart is not hopeless, it is just feeling like a failure as of now. Yes, I agree, this night of sorrow is very long, but it is after all just one night. And true to any night, the day will emerge. And that's why we said, right, the hopelessness and hope play that cyclical pattern of day and night, right? When you are in day, you can be sure the night is coming. And when you are in a night, you can be sure day is coming. That's how for the lover, hopelessness and hope is. When he's in the phase of hopelessness, he is very sure that hope is on the horizon, and when he has hope, he is very sure that there is room for something hopeless happening for him. शकील आज़मी का ये शेर, ना उम्मीदी में उम्मीदों का सफ़र जारी है. What a couplet. ना उम्मीदी में उम्मीदों का सफ़र जारी है, फूल की चाह में कांटों का सफ़र जारी है. The approximate translation is, in this hopelessness, I continue to travel the journey of hope. In the desire for the flower, I continue to travel through thorns, hand in hand. So faced with the dilemma where both hopelessness and hope are wanting to battle each other till only one survives, Ghalib in the second line details an elaborate plan that the lover puts together to avoid this situation, to circumvent this situation. The lover decides to leverage Ijz-e-Himmat, miracle of courage. Courage, right? हिम्मत. वसीम बरेलवी का ये शेर, दुआ करो कि सलामत रहे मेरी हिम्मत, ये एक चराग कई आंधियों पे भारी है. The approximate translation is, just pray that my courage stays intact. This is one little candle that can dominate several storms. This one little light of mine. जोश मलियाबादी का ये शेर, वहाँ से है मेरी हिम्मत की इब्तिदा वल्ला, जो इंतहा है तेरे सब्र आजमाने की. The approximate translation is, my courage gets initiated at that limit, my God, the limit which is where your tendency to test my patience ends. That is where my courage gets initiated. And last one by Jigar Muradabadi, मेरी हिम्मत देखना, मेरी तबीयत देखना, जो सुलझ जाती है गुत्थी फिर से उलझाता हूँ मैं. The approximate translation is, look at my courage, look at my demeanor. A complex convoluted knot which I have already figured out, I complicate it once again. I tie it up and convolute it once again. So this himmat of the lover, right, is his superpower. He, as long as this himmat is alive, no amount of hopelessness, no amount of failures can deter him, right? So the lover has decided to leverage, the lover has decided to use this miracle of courage, Ijz-e-Himmat. Now use it for what? Well, he is going to use it to create a Tilism-e-Dil-e-Sail. So let's figure out Tilism, right? So Tilism, again, like we covered in the keywords, can refer to multiple things. It can be a talisman, it can be outright enchantment, magic, sorcery, conjuring. It can be a mystical device to ward off evil spirits, or it can be this magical world, right? In classical literature, a tilism is a whole magical realm, and magic not necessarily always good, right? It can be bad or it can be good, but it is some kind of enchantment, some kind of magical world that is conjured up. The meaning of Tilism in our couplet today refers exactly to this, a magical world or land. Stories of such enchanted lands were gloriously narrated through the tradition of dastan goi or storytelling. We have covered it in one of our episodes. Such dastan or story is rooted in the tradition of Ayyari. Ayyari is trickery, sorcery, tricking someone by magic and enchantment and spells, etc. The heroes, particularly the master trickster, used their wit and cunning to unravel the secrets of these enchanted worlds or tilisms. In this way, every tilism presents a complex and self-contained magical reality that must be deciphered and conquered to restore order. Such fantastical enchanted places often featured in Persian and Urdu epic fantasies like Tilism-e-Hoshruba. In Tilism-e-Hoshruba, the most prominent example of a tilism is actually the entire land of Hoshruba itself. Created by powerful sorcerers, Hoshruba is a magical world designed to defy the physical laws of nature and enthrall anyone who enters. The Tilism of Hoshruba was conjured by sorcerers in defiance of God and the laws of the physical world. This meta-tilism contained countless smaller tilisms within it, each with its own unique enchantment. The story of the epic is the process of the righteous hero Prince Asad. Now, yeah, coincidence, Ghalib's Takhallus, and his companion, the legendary trickster Amar-e-Yaar, conquering and unraveling the magic of Hoshruba. So, Tilism-e-Hoshruba is one of the most famous Persian epic tales. Forget tales, it's an epic, right? That is centered on this tilism, this magical, enchanting, fantastical place which has to be deciphered and conquered by the heroes. Another famous epic is Bostan-e the Persian epic written in the 18th century, which features numerous magical realms or tilisms encountered by the protagonist Prince Muizzuddin. It is a vast story known for its complex and numerous magical settings populated by strange creatures and enchanted devices. And the last one is Chandrakanta. Chandrakanta, written in 19th century by Devaki Nandan Khatri, is considered the first modern novel in Hindi and was heavily influenced by the Dastan genre. The story revolves around the eponymous princess Chandrakanta, who is trapped inside a tilism. The novel features secret passages, coded messages, and powerful magicians who guard the tilism. It also contains numerous characters who are ayyars or tricksters, much like Amar-e-Yaar from the Dastane Amir Hamza. The success of Chandrakanta helped popularize the concept of the tilism for a wider audience outside of the Urdu literary circles. Now, in addition to these grand epics, the concept of tilism also appears in Sufi poetry, where it is used as an allegory for the spiritual journey. In this context, the tilism represents the world of illusion, material desires, earthly attachments, etc. And the seeker must transcend, decipher, conquer this world to find true spiritual enlightenment. The dismantling of the tilism of world is a metaphor for mystic breaking through the veil of illusion to attain union with the divine. The adventure within the magical world becomes an inner spiritual journey in this Sufi context. So that's a brief and very interesting background to tilism. What is a tilism, right? If you just call it a magical place, one can make a mistake of thinking it is the good magic, right? Where everything is extra better, extra beautiful, extra nice. No. Tilism, on the other hand, contrary to that common notion about magic, is a place that is crafted by sorcerers and people who want to defy the universal order, right? They are the people who usually get inspired to create such places. All right. So, keeping that background in mind with reference to tilism, we know that tilism is an illusion, a trick, an enchantment that is created, which usually will be pretty impossible to break, impossible to decipher. No one can escape it, no one can break it except its creator or someone chosen by the creator who has the knowledge of the key or the clue to the tilism. Though a tilism will give you many options, many choices, many paths to go for, they will never be the correct one. The correct path that can break or hack the tilism is well hidden and very cryptic. Ghalib interestingly says that he uses the magical, miraculous powers of courage to create a tilism for, of course, hopelessness and hope. More interestingly, this tilism is made out of questions, Saahil, right? Dil-e-Sail baandha. So this tilism is made out of questions, multiple questions asked by the heart to hope and hopelessness. A tilism made of questions asked by the heart of the lover. Questions focused, directed to hopelessness and hope. Well, who is better suited to create such a tilism than the lover in Urdu poetry? The lover is very well versed. From the day he fell in love, he has been practicing day in, day out. As frequently as sun and moon in the sky above, he has been practicing the questioning of hope and the questioning of hopelessness within himself, within his heart. उर्मिला माधव का ये शेर, खुद सवालो जवाब करते रहो, अपने दिल से हिसाब करते रहो. The approximate translation is, you yourself ask the question, you yourself keep answering it, and this way keep doing the long, never-ending calculation with your heart itself. Right? The lover knows such questions that go on and on infinitely very well because he has both asked them and he has answered them. जियर कन्वल का ये शेर, निगाहे दोस्त सवाल जवाब मत करना, मैं बेहिसाब हूँ, मुझसे हिसाब मत करना. The approximate translation is, eyes of dear your eyes, do not make them question and answer me. I am unlimited. I am infinite. Do not try to bring a calculation or talk about calculation. Do not try to calculate things with me. I am beyond calculation. बेकल उत्साही का ये शेर, उसका जवाब एक ही लम्हे में खत्म था, फिर भी मेरे सवाल का हक देर तक रहा. Another good one. Approximate translation is, her answer got over in a moment, but the truth of my question lingered on and on. So this expertise of asking questions with one's own self, with the beloved, all type of questions, all variety of questions, questions that have no answers, answers that are questions in themselves. This is an expertise of the lover. Thanks to his love for the beloved, the lover has gained an expertise in questions that lead to hope and questions that lead to hopelessness. इदरीस बाबर का ये शेर, मेरे सवाल वही टूट फूट की जद में, जवाब उनके वही हैं बने बनाए हुए. Another good one. Approximate translation is, my questions, as always, broken and crippled, right? Always. And her answers, always very well put together, very calm and collected, right? So it is no surprise that the lover in today's couplet musters up the magical, miraculous powers of courage to craft this tilism, this labyrinth, this maze of one question after the other, tricking hopelessness and hope into this tilism, into this labyrinth with the mastery of an ayyar, the mastery of a sorcerer. हारिस खलीक का ये शेर, हर एक मंजर सवाल बनकर जवाब का मुंतज़िर खड़ा है. The approximate translation is, every single image, every single vision has stood up like a question and is now awaiting an answer. इफ्तिकार आरिफ का ये शेर, जवाब आए ना आए सवाल उठा तो सही, फिर इस सवाल में पहलू नए सवाल के रख. That same sorcery, right? That same building one question after the other. So the approximate translation is, whether you get an answer or not, ask the question, raise the question, and then in that question itself create multiple other aspects of questions. Keep questioning, irrespective whether you get an answer or not. Again, speaking to the infinite ability of the lover to question any and everything. For the lover, this is a good solution to keep these two, hopelessness and hope, engaged, engrossed, enraptured, so that they forget about the battlefield of the first line, which they wanted, which they demanded, which they wanted to have a battle on, a no mercy, no holds barred battle, out of which only one of them would come out as a survivor. So, trapping them in this tilism, trapping them in this labyrinth of questions from the heart has been the solution that the lover conjures, right? That the lover comes up with, crafts to avoid that battle. So that takes care of the second line, Ijz-e-Himmat ne Tilism-e-Dil-e-Sail bandha. Now, as always, let's take a step back and spend a few minutes on the couplet in totality. Ghalib in this couplet once again brings in multiple elements together that on the surface might look to have nothing in common. Hopelessness, hope, battlefield, tilism, labyrinth, questions. What is the commonality? Right, one would say. It takes a while to see the underlying common thread that weaves them together. The big iceberg submerged in this couplet is that the lover needs both hopelessness and hope. If you were to say the same thing in Ghalib style, the lover has a relish, the lover has a taste for both hopelessness and hope. Something very unique to the lover, something you will not find in a normal human being. A normal human being will always want to eliminate hopelessness and live in this perpetual state of hope. It is this lover in Urdu poetry who has a taste, has a relish for both hopelessness and hope. Mirza Ghalib ka sher, बस हुजूम ना उम्मीदी, बस हुजूम ना उम्मीदी खाक में मिल जाएगी, ये जो एक लज्जत हमारी साये बेहासिल में है. The approximate translation is, trust me, this uproar, this noise of hopelessness will mix in dust, will cease to exist, will get destroyed thanks to this relish, this taste we enjoy in failures, in tasks that do not go through. We as lovers, right, the way we enjoy failure is what will turn the uproar of hopelessness into dust. That is how we conquer hopelessness, by enjoying our failures, relishing our failures. And that is the big message. That is the big message of this couplet, that learn how to do that, and you will conquer the grasp hopelessness has on you. A lover knows he needs both these emotions alive and intensely flowing through him for him to walk down the path of unrequited love. The lover does not have the option to slip into any one emotion for too long, because if he does it, it will force the lover to abort or cut short his journey of love. The balancing act is difficult, it is delicate, and Ghalib in this couplet shows us how a lover is willing to go to the extremes to do this balancing act successfully. It is endearing to watch the visualization Ghalib creates, where if hopelessness is getting too powerful, the heart will control it by questioning about things that instill in the lover hope. And when hope is getting too powerful, the heart will control it by questioning about things that alert the lover about the hopelessness in the situation. वहशत रज़ा अली कलकत्वी का ये शेर, किसी तरह दिन तो कट रहे हैं, फरेबे उम्मीद खा रहा हूँ, हजार हा नक्श आरजू के बना रहा हूँ, मिटा रहा हूँ. That cyclical thing. The approximate translation is, somehow the days are going by as I keep getting deceived by hope. And while I am getting deceived by hope, I continue to draw 1,000 images of hope and then erase 1,000 images of hope out of hopelessness, right? So that is the lover's rigmarole, right? He is creating hope, he is erasing hope, he's drawing hope, he's erasing hope, all the while getting defeated by hopelessness. But he will keep both sentiments alive. This is how the lover keeps the fire burning in his heart. Now, there was one thing that we wanted to share with our viewers with reference to the second line in this couplet. While we were creating the impression for the second line, we halted at Ijz for a very long time. The struggle was real, dear viewers. The word confounded us. In our online research on the word Ijz, like we mentioned in the impression also, we found that Ijz in some context does mean miracle, magic, astonishment. And this is the meaning that passed the DGMZ test for us. And hence, this is the meaning we picked and based our impression on. What we want to inform you is that, as fate would have it, this is not the meaning picked by almost all other interpreters for their interpretation. They, unlike DGMZ, have picked for Ijz the meaning which is hopelessness, which details hopelessness, weakness, modesty, helplessness, powerlessness. Now, if you were to go with that meaning, then the second line would be, because of the weakness and modesty and helplessness of courage, the heart crafted the tilism or the labyrinth of questions. Instead of what we put in our impression, because of the magical, miraculous powers of courage, the heart crafted the tilism or labyrinth of questions. That is something we wanted to make you aware of. What we chose has not been chosen by anyone. So just something to keep in mind. You are more than welcome to understand the couplet with the interpretation everybody else chose, hence sharing the meaning with you, just for your awareness. Alright, so that brings us to the end of Ya so Ummiid ne Yak-Arbada Maidaan maanga, Ijz-e-Himmat ne Tilism-e-Dil-e-Sail baandha. Now we are going to end today's episode with a short ghazal by Insha Allah Kha Insha. The title of the ghazal is Ya so Ummiid o Shadi o Gam ne Dhoom Uthai Seene mein. We did quote it also, right? So allow me to narrate it for you. Ya so Ummiid o Shadi o Gam ne धूम उठाई सीने में, खूब मुझे है आज धमाधम मार कुटाई सीने में, दीद किया जो वादिये मजनू हमने, धुन में वहशत के शक्ल मुजस्सम हो के जुनू की आन समाई सीने में। शेख और ब्राह्मण दैरो हरम में ढूंढते हो क्या ला हासिल, मूंद के आंखें देखो तो है सारी खुदाई सीने में। कहर किया ये तुमने साहब, आंख लड़ाना आफत था, झटपट दिल को फूंक दिया और आग लगाई सीने में। हजरत दिल तो कब के सिधारे, खूब जो ढूंढा इंशा ने, एक धुआं सा आह का उठा, खाक न पाई सीने में। यासो उम्मीदो शादियो गम ने धूम उठाई सीने में, खूब मुझे है आज धमाधम, मार कुटाई सीने में। All right, that actually ends the episode for us. Hopefully you enjoyed the impression. As always, we'll be very keen to hear your comments and feedback, especially if you have any thoughts on Ijz and the way we used it, the way other people used it. Which one did you find more convincing? We'll be very keen to hear. Now, as always, for our new viewers, a very strong recommendation to access the episode Introduction to DGMZ. That will give you a good insight into the motivation and inspiration behind this podcast. What do we try to do here every weekend? For our regular viewers, always encourage you to visit the homepage whenever you have some time, access the playlists that are segregated by topics, ghazals, etc. Pick an episode that interests you. For the ones who have joined us on Facebook, we are very thankful. DGMZ Facebook page as of today is about 6.5 K followers, that is 65,000 followers. 6,500 followers. And we are growing. So if you can, do join us there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode by sending a lot of love and light to all you dear viewers, and thanks for watching.